So the Big 12, 9-1 through the first 3 days of the tournament. That changed a little bit on day 4, but they get a league high 4 teams to the Sweet 16. That's a Big 12 record anyway. Ties a Big 12 record. All those wins are worth $2 million a piece. All those wins are worth $2 million. So when I say the Big 12 made some money in an era where everything, I mean, every penny matters for the league, it's really important that they got the performances that they did out of Arizona, Houston, Texas Tech, BYU, these teams that are heading to the Sweet 16. Hell, even, Baylor, not a quintessential Baylor year, and more on that in just a moment, because I do think as the money is coming into the league here, we're seeing a bit of a shift in the power structure, the power axis of Big 12 basketball. Baylor helped out by playing above its seed as a 9 seed, winning a first-round game, beating an SEC team, by the way. So shout out to Scott Drew and company for doing that. Got to appreciate that. Man, all this money, though, goes back to the conference. You get $2 million a pop, so continue to win, continue to go deep. This is, again, a part of the discussion around the SEC, why it's so frustrating that the bottom of that league got the benefit of the doubt, and they got 14 teams in when the bottom of the league performed horribly in the tournament. It's like, you just gifted them a bunch of extra money by throwing all those teams into the league, picking up more units by having more teams into the tournament, rather. So that's, there are legitimate reasons here to be frustrated outside of just oversaturation of what the SEC had. But that's money. That's all going to go back to the conference in this revenue sharing era. Take every little single bit that you can, especially as everybody now has that $20.5 million that they've got to figure out some way to pay with revenue sharing now. And this is why, basketball, I made the point going into the tournament, like, basketball's big business for the Big 12. You can say, hey, it's not football, and it certainly is not, and it never will be. But for the Big 12, it's pretty big business. Like, you need to get this together. This can't be another year where the Big 12 drastically underperforms like last year when there was nobody in the Elite Eight, and you really start to lose grip on that narrative about being the best conference out there, which I know the SEC sent a record 7 teams to the Sweet 16, but they went 7 for 14, right? I mean, that's when the ACC set the record of 6, they went 6 for 7. So this was not don't believe the SEC propaganda. This was not, mute Peter Burns on Twitter. Don't listen to SEC Baghdad Bob. This was a bad performance for the SEC. They just had so much in there. The top of the league is good. I guess I'll say that for them. The top of the league is good. Bottom of the league did not deserve to get all those teams in, did not deserve to get the benefit of the doubt. So anyway, frustrating in some respects, but very, very good. Great performance. Arizona really sealed this being just a great performance in the tournament so far for the Big 12. Now, the key there is so far. I mentioned you get $2 million basically around that. Every single win that you pick up from here on out. So keep winning. Can't stumble. Can't stub your toe. You got to keep winning games. You got to get somebody to the Final Four. And preferably, if the Big 12 can win a national championship this year, that's how the league staked itself with the reputation as the best league a couple of years ago. You had Texas Tech got to the title game, almost won. Then you had Baylor winning a national championship. Kansas won a national championship. And you have 3 straight years with a team playing for the title, 2 years in a row winning. That was huge. And then the year that the tournament's canceled, Kansas was the number 1 overall seed. Like, it was that run. That's how you got all the respect. So we can talk all we want about regular season and, was the SEC the best ever, the regular season? You earn respect by winning big. Win the title. So really, that puts a lot of this on Houston. I'm not saying it's impossible for anybody else to win it, but Houston is certainly by far the best opportunity for you to do that. And speaking of that, it's just crazy, this like changing of the guard that we're seeing in the Big 12 right now. Man, I mean, Kansas's struggles have not made a second weekend outside of the title year, which, yes, is a massive asterisk. But since 2018, we're talking about, 7 years here? And I guess 1 without a tournament. So 4 of 7, 4 of 6, really. Kansas not making a second weekend. Like, that's, I know you'd look around and say, like, hey, tons of programs would kill for what Kansas has done, but that's not the point here. Kansas, I thought 2 years ago, was the best basketball program in the country. And they've got to be the flagship bearer for the Big 12 if that's the reputation of the league, or if that's the reputation of the program. And they're not right now. Like, they're absolutely not. This is a kind of an identity crisis right now for the Jayhawks. Just saw a story pop up this weekend about how Kansas is going to, I'm trying to remember how it was phrased. Kansas is going to really step its game up in NIL. You know, I'm sure they were spending at a pretty decent clip already, but now they're feeling the pressure. Like, that tells you Kansas feels the pressure of where they are at right now. I mean, they haven't even come close to winning the league the last couple of years, right? And that used to just be a formality. They've lost their grip on Allen Fieldhouse being just an automatic win. Actually losing multiple conference home games. Like, that's not what we're used to seeing from Kansas. Clearly, the axis of power has shifted there. Baylor, speaking of teams that have struggled to get out of the first weekend, they have not made a second weekend since the national championship run for Scott Drew. Like, they still recruit a lot of talent. I mean, they were a preseason top 10 team this year. Everybody loved VJ Edgecombe, but it's just not quite coming together the same way right now for Scott Drew. So you're seeing power tilt outside of that. You know, we were in the Baylor, Kansas era there 2-3 years ago. That has really shifted out of that. Iowa State, you know, maybe it's making a little bit too much to say that they fell flat in the tournament. But the last 2 years, I mean, there have been points where it looked like Iowa State was a legit national championship contender. And they have fallen a bit flat after that. You know, the loss last year to Illinois, disappointing. Certainly this was disappointing. And I mean, Ole Miss was just totally red hot. Some of that, I guess you throw up your hands and say, what the hell are we supposed to do? But it was not a great look. And it leaves this question, like, you know, what is the ceiling here really for TJ Otzelberger and company? So it feels to me like you had kind of this old, like, all right, looks like Kansas, Iowa State, Baylor could be really the group. It's not the old Big 8, Big 12 crew. Hateful Eight, I guess, as I wear my Big 8 shirt. It's Arizona, Houston, BYU, Texas Tech. Like, they're doing the heavy lifting right now, with Houston obviously entrenched firmly at the top. Houston looks like the new Kansas, and then it's kind of like everybody else sort of filtering in around that. You know, will Arizona or Texas Tech or BYU step up to be like the Baylor to the Kansas there? Is that what this new era of Big 12 basketball is going to be? I think that's a really interesting thing because, you know, I mean, there's a ton of pride, obviously, in Kansas basketball, but even, you know, Baylor, Iowa State, some of these teams that have had a lot of success here in this old Big 8, Big 12 era, like, how are they going to handle Texas Tech? I get, you know, they've had success across this entire era, and they're now here in this group that's doing heavy lifting this year. But how will everybody take to if it's going to be Arizona, Houston, and BYU, you know, that are the real powers of the league? Because, like, listen, people, BYU's here to stay. I mean, BYU is absolutely here to stay. That's a program with a lot of money. That's a school with a lot of money. That's a school that appears to have hit the coaching hire out of the park with Kevin Young. They've got the number one high school player in the country coming in next year, and AJ DeBonsta. Like, BYU is going to be there. And that's bad news for the rest of the league. So they can absolutely compete there. And we've seen, I mean, as long as Kelvin Sampson is at Houston, they're going to be a machine. And Arizona, as a program, has the history. I think Tommy Lloyd is a very good coach. They should certainly continue to get talent. So, man, I think that's a very, very interesting angle to look at with the league right now. How is all of that going to change and evolve over time? You have some very, very interesting stuff to parse there.